This is Bloomberg Surveillance Early Edition. I'm Francine Lacqua here in London, Matt Miller in Berlin, Katie Lines in New York. Now, the Investor Allstars conference brings together the biggest names in private equity with Europe's most promising technology startups. Joining us now from the conference is Bloomberg's Tom Mackenzie, who joins us with the chief executive of a fintech firm. Tom, take it away.
Yeah, Francine, thank you very much indeed. Very pleased to say that I'm joined by the CEO of MOLLIE, Shane Happach. MOLLIE is one of the most exciting tech companies in Europe, frankly, in terms of the payments and processing of payments, rivaling the likes of Checkout.com and Stripe, backed by Blackstone, the valuation of about $6.5 billion. Shane, thank you for joining us before this conference here in London. Give us an update on the business in terms of the merchants. You service small, medium-sized businesses across the European space in terms of payments and ensuring that they have the software and technology that's needed. Where do you stand in terms of the numbers of merchants that you have on your platform and the daily additions that you're seeing?
Sure. We have about 180,000 active customers today. So that's a customer that's done a payment at some point in the course of the last year. We have about 400 or 500 customers signing up every single day, around 4,000 or 5,000 that become active in any given month. So still a huge tailwind. We're only in 5 countries as we speak, but we have a big plan and big ambition to grow beyond those borders.
And your business, your sector was one of those areas that was really turbocharged by the impacts of the pandemic. Are you still seeing that demand? Is that starting to ebb off at all, or is it remaining sticky?
Sure. I mean, I think there's a few people that pivoted very, very hard, right? So if you were a business that had absolutely no online strategy and you needed to engineer pickup and takeaway, or you had a restaurant and you needed to offer food delivery and so on and so forth. So you saw some really turbo prop customers signing up every single day, new business models, and some of that's ebbed off, but you do see some permanent changes in behavior. I think if you were the type that shopped in a supermarket and were forced to order your groceries online, I think some of those habits are now ingrained, I think, more and more. And so we've seen some growth just persist in some categories where people's buying habits have been permanently shifted due to the pandemic.
And you talked about that international footprint. I know that Asia is part of the focus for you as well as other parts of Europe. What are the priority countries right now in terms of expansion for MOLLIE?
I mean, I think we have a lot to do for our existing customers. We're expanding in Germany, we're expanding in France. You know, we're in Belgium and the Netherlands. We're also going to enter the UK next year. So that's quite a big to do for us, especially if you want to make the product really sticky and do a really good job in hyper localizing it, which is part of our value proposition. I think, like all businesses, we dream of being global someday. So the product market fit definitely works in other parts of the world. So we're going to start to look further afield throughout the course of 2022.
Okay, so build out that footprint in Europe, primarily countries like Germany, but the US at some point, is that presumably a tantalizing proposition? Is it realistic?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge market, right? It's my home market. I grew up there. It's very well served, I think, compared to certain other parts of the world, and very competitive. So, you know, we think our right to compete and win still has us focusing on Europe for the foreseeable future. But like all companies, you know, we want to be truly global. Eventually, at some point, you know, we'll have to make sure that we cater for every need, including where customers want us to be.
What themes are you seeing within the e-commerce space at this moment in time that are worth highlighting?
I mean, I think in general, like, e-commerce has always been attractive. I mean, it's had many, many years of compound growth. I always think people are astonished by a couple of key stats. You know, one is that everyone assumes that about half the business is online, and in reality, in most European countries, it's sub 10, or maybe 10 to 15%.
Still sub 10?
Still sub 10, yeah. In the Netherlands, about 9%. The rest is retail. So, you know, we still have tremendous headwind, and you'll just see many years of digital substitution, as we call it. I think the other bit is fragmentation. So in the payment space, most people assume, you know, that some of these, the sexiest names out there, you know, some of the top 5 players in terms of global volume, but really about half the business is still held by 10 companies globally, and the other half is 5,000. You know, so we're in the 5,000, and we aim to be in the 10. And that means, you know, over time, the fragmentation will ultimately consolidate as more and more people just do a better job servicing a broader spectrum of customers.
Okay, so consolidation.
Yeah.
Does that start now? Are you starting to see it? Are you going to be involved? What are you looking at in terms of acquisitions?
There's been a lot of M&A and other activity, a lot of partnership too. So, you know, payments is one of those funny industries where your competitors might also be your customers, your distribution partners. So we all kind of cooperate in this big mix in order to try to get to the outcome. But consolidation will continue to play out, I think. In the long run, you know, the world doesn't need 10,000 payment companies, but it's not part of our strategy. We have a ton of headroom in our core market, and we're on a kind of organic build strategy. But you never know. Many things you have to talk to everybody. You have to make sure you understand what's going on.
So organic growth for the moment is a priority rather than acquisitions.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, because you raised about $800 million in June, I believe.
We did, yeah.
Valuation of about $6.5 billion.
That's right.
And the priority for spending that cash?
Like anything, it starts with great people. So we're trying to build a world-class team. Most of the things that we need to do for clients are product and engineering led. So we're a product-led company, and we want to continue to be so. And like everything, the investment and everything from cybersecurity to the latest technology to making a great web experience, it's all capital intensive. So we want to make sure that we do a great job for our customers.
Okay, Shane, before I let you go, I've got to ask about IPO plans. How are you thinking about exiting from this business? Is an IPO a prospect in the next, say, 12 to 24 months for MOLLIE?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end goal of the company today. Right now, we have a great amount of work to do for our existing customers. I've been here for 6 months, so although that would be a phenomenal outcome in terms of time motion study, I think we're mainly focused on building the business. And if that's the right outcome for the company at some point, so be it. But I was fond of saying, our customers don't necessarily benefit from us being a public business. They're quite happy for us to focus on delivery for them, and that's what we're going to do over the next 12
months. Okay, so not rushing towards that IPO. The business was set up in 2004. You took over the helm as CEO 6 months ago. Shane Happach, thank you very much indeed. Guys, back to you.